All right, YouTube. I had a few guys ask me about this push-pull steering that I run on my Ascend, and I'll load another video of a different type of steering that I tried at one time. It was after I initially set this push-pull up, and then I came across the steering that's produced by New Canoe, and I tried it on the kayak. It's more of a it's a cable system that runs a cable back here. I had to set up a mounting plate for the control arm, and I used it, and it was good. If you want to be a sit-down fisherman, it's perfect. But again, it just didn't fit me. I tried it for a little while, the whole sit-down fisherman, all that stuff, whatever, and I'm not a huge fan. I want to be able to sit down if I have to, or if I want to. But then again, I want to stand if I want to. So I'm gonna try and make this video as quick and kind of give some really good explanation as to how I did this. So we'll start off with what you need, right? This piece here is just a piece of PVC pipe. It's a 3/4 inch PVC pipe, right? And then here I have some mounting hardware. It's old. This piece is like 3 years old, so it's lasted me that long. But two bolts right here, Allen wrench bolts or whatever. And as you can see up underneath here, don't get turned around on the camera angle, but a locking bolt here, or a locking nut here, locking nut here, locking washer, and then a flat washer and a flat washer. This piece here, this is just an L bracket, something that you if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, it's usually in like the hardware aisle by the stuff that you use to build shelves and closets, right? So it's an L bracket, and the L bracket comes with some pre-drilled holes, 3 of them on this side and 3 on that side, depending on the size L bracket you get. I think this was like a 4-inch one or something. Anyways, it has pre-drilled holes in it, so I utilized those holes. And what I did was I took my PVC pipe. First I took the L bracket and I trimmed off this portion of the L, right? So extend it down like this. So I trimmed that off with a Dremel or some sort of metal cutting blade or whatever I have. And I also used one of these things right here. This is like a conduit pipe clamp, or just a pipe clamp, whatever you want to call it. But I bought it off the conduit section, or near the conduit pipe. So it's a pipe clamp right here. And what I did was I attached, after I cut this portion off of the L bracket, then you can see inside here, there's the head of a bolt right there. All right, so what I did was I connected the pipe clamp to the L bracket. The head of the bolt is on the inside, and then the screw-on portion of the bolt is inside of here. All right, and then so I took the pipe clamp, wrapped it, connected it to the L bracket first, right? Connected it to the L bracket first, and then I wrapped it around my my shaft or whatever. Once I did that, then I came with my PVC pipe, and I used some vice grips, clamped it down here in the center, and then I took a drill and I drilled from the bottom up, whatever. And so what I did was I had it swung back like that. So I drilled from the bottom up, and that gave me my 2 holes to mount or connect the PVC pipe to the L bracket. So now I've connected PVC pipe to the L bracket. The L bracket was previously connected to the conduit pipe clamp, and obviously the pipe clamp was wrapped around the shaft of the trolling motor. Also, what I used on the shaft of the trolling motor, you can see it's kind of pushed down in it, that little black thing there. That's just a basic piece of rubber that I picked up from the store. It's basically a piece of rubber I wrapped around the shaft of the trolling motor, and then I put the pipe clamp around it just to add a little bit of friction so that this control arm doesn't shift when I'm swinging it back and forth. Coming out to the end of the PVC pipe, this is just your cap for a PVC pipe. Nothing great about it. I never glued it on there or anything like that. It's just stuck on there. This section here Well, all of this section, right? All of this section that you see right here, this is just an assembly from a dust mop, right? Those dust mops that have the nice furry bottoms to them, or clothy bottoms, and you push them along the floor and you can turn them left and right and up, so forth. That's what this assembly here is. So my wife, she's not around, had a dust mop sitting in the pantry, and I've been looking for some sort of control, like something that I could use to push this here thing back and forth. And as it swings back and forth, the swivel on the head of this thing allows it to turn, right? So when the motor is turned that way, the stick can still be positioned up towards where I sit, and so forth. And if I ever had to tilt this motor, or if I stood up, now the angle can be increased or decreased in regards to the stick being connected to here. All right, so that's what I needed. I needed something that can do that. And I've seen there was quite a few metal contraptions that I could have come up with, but we know how that works. Metal, salt water, eventually it's going to rust out, and I didn't want to deal with the rust, nor did I want to deal with all the clanking of metal back here every time I moved it, right? So to go low maintenance as possible, that's why I went with this, right? So what I did was, let's picture this being a broomstick or a handle screwed into here, right? And then this is connected to, and then this piece right here is connected to the dust mop, the dust pad, the little plastic piece that holds the dust pad around it. That's what this was connected to, right? And then the broomstick was screwed into here, and this was connected to the dust pad, right? So what I did was I took a Dremel, I love the Dremel, and I cut this piece off of the dust mop assembly. I cut this piece off because I wanted this connecting part right here. The part that the broomstick connects to, or the handle stick connects to, I needed that piece. So I cut it off, and what I did was I drilled a hole through it, right? And I drilled a hole through my PVC pipe. So I ran a little small bolt through there, connected it on this side, and then I also used two zip ties on both sides of the nut or the bolt to even out that pressure on this here piece right here, to keep it from just being on this center nut. I put a strap here and a strap there, so now as you can see, there's very little torque left and right. So when I pull, it's pulling dead center, and the weight of the pull or what have you is being distributed across the whole piece by just being in the center piece, because eventually it would have broken. I've been using this for 3 years, and it's never broken. I've never had to replace it. I've never taken it apart, and I've never had to replace it. It's always been on here, just as solid as it is now. No rust. The only issue I ever had was when I first set it up. This zip tie right here, I didn't have that on there. Only thing I had was I just clamped this onto there, just slid this on top of there, and I would go out and I would go fishing. And one day I was out fishing, and I think I came across some mud, some dirt or something like that, maybe some rocks, that the motor was kicking up on. And so I went to try and turn the direction, and when I pulled, the motor was up against something that didn't allow it to pull, and I ended up pulling this piece here off of this piece here, this little connector. I ended up disconnecting, and I had to climb back here, snap it back on, and then just raise the motor up and keep going. So what I did was I immediately came home. When I came home, I immediately went to work, and I drilled a small hole through here, right? And then I just ran a zip tie around it. I love zip ties. They're the greatest, right? So I wrapped the zip tie around it, so now it will not come off. You know what I mean? I can push and pull all I want, and this piece won't come disconnected from the arm that it's wrapped around. So now it's fail-proof. Like I can hit a stump, rock, what have you, and give it some tugs and pulls, and it won't pop, it won't disengage, it won't disconnect or anything. I don't have any lines to maintain or rerun over a period of time when they get brittle and start to snap or pop. I don't have to worry about drilling a hole through the back of my kayak to run wires. Even though this kayak is pre-set up for the whole cable steering, foot peg, pedal thing, I don't have to do that. I don't have to maintain wires and lines and anything. All I need is a sturdy stick that ain't gonna break. That PVC pipe back there, that hasn't broken yet. That metal L bracket, which definitely ain't gonna break. And this is it. And I can run this boat from my seat, 90-degree turns left and right? And just no issues whatsoever. I can stand and steer, I can sit and steer. So that's how it's set up. And like I said, everybody knows I have the paddle holder here, and that's what the stick rests in. And when it's not, and when I'm standing, it rests in this here paddle, this paddle holder here. Right there, that's on the back of the seat. And the seat's on a swivel, so if you're trying to figure out what the hell you're looking at, it's supposed to be like this, right? So, there or there. Either way it goes, it's within grasp of my hand. If I'm sitting, it's within grasp of my hand. If I'm standing, right there. And that's how I drive the boat. When I'm standing, I just reach down, make small adjustments as I'm going across the shoreline or whatever, and fish that way. When I'm sitting and I'm on my way back to the dock or on the fishing hole, I can pick a course, drop this this stick inside this paddle holder, and it's not gonna move. I can tie off line, do whatever I wanna do, kick my feet up and so forth and relax. So while you guys are out here pumping and boom, 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 doing all the shit with your feet, working the whole time, I'm gonna kick back and relax and just chill. Eat a sandwich, drink a beer, whatever. But that's how it's set up. So if you got any questions, hit me up. Like I said, only things you're gonna need is that assembly off of a dust mop right here, your PVC pipe, L bracket that you trim down, and a conduit pipe clamp. And of course, you're gonna need some nuts and bolts and hardware like that, but that's it. It's a super simple, easy way to put steering on your kayak by just having to run wires all through the kayak and drill an entry point and an exit point. Because you run the wires, you're gonna have to come up here somewhere and drill your exit point here, or you may have to put it over here, or whatever it is that you may do or you choose to do. So you're gonna have to create an exit point for that cable to come out and then mate up to your tracks here with your foot pegs. So now you have a low level hole down here somewhere that can't be sealed because there's a cable that comes and slides in and out or whatever. So anytime, if you're out in the rain and you start getting water in here and you pull your plugs, or if you just got a lot of water in your hole, you got to be concerned about that water getting down inside there. Now it's on your electronics, or now it's just sitting inside your boat. I didn't want to have a whole lot of low level holes on my kayak. I tried to keep everything above a certain line. And anything that was beneath that line, I wanted to have it sealed, or at least silicone around the nut. So that's that. That's how I have my trolling motor set up, and that's how I run it.